Okay, we're out here again, and I got a belt put on, and the way you do the belt is you just run a tape measure around the outside, and I came up with 47 inches. So the pulleys are always A, so it's an A46 half inch by 48 inch belt that I put on there. Sometimes it's hit or miss on whether it's too long or too short, but this time I got it the first time, so that's how I did it. I ran a tape measure around the outside and just measured it, and then went and bought a belt to see if it fit, and the A46 fit. So I got new carburetor studs on, and I got new studs and nuts for the valve covers, and the valve covers are bolted on now. So, and then I bought new vents. So these are, you know, vents. There to help. You have to change the grommet on this one. That one fits. The other one on the front of the Magnum, you got to have a different grommet. So, and then I got a 160 degree thermostat, and these eBay intakes they take this is for a 70 or 72 duster or dart, and it'll be 2.5 inches from there to there. But so what we're gonna, and the gasket, so the gasket's the same, it's $1 something for the gasket. So this intake, it takes that, you know, and the older A body thermostat. It doesn't take the newer, smaller thermostats. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill an 1/8 inch hole in here, though, because this won't be open when you try to fill the fluid in through the radiator. And if it doesn't have a way for the, you know, to come through the bottom hose, like it's captured in this inside, it will you'll end up with an air pocket, and it'll always overheat. So we're going to drill an 1/8 inch hole to allow that fluid to come up and totally fill the whole coolant system. I'm going to drill that hole right now, and then we're going to bolt this thermostat housing down. Alright, so you can see the hole that I drilled in the thermostat. So now that'll allow water to come through and fill. There won't be no air gap in here. I do this on every thermostat that I put in. It won't, you know, this thing will still slow the flow down for it to cycle properly, but I'll never end up with an air, you know, air trapped in here to where I don't have the whole system full. I'm going to go ahead and put this cap on now. Alright, I'm going to line the flex plate up before I bolt it on. I'm going to spray paint one ear, because on a Mopar they only bolt up one way. So that way I know it's lined up when I go to bolt it up. Alright, I'm bolting the flex plate on now I got new bolts and new washers, and we're using blue Loctite. And we're going to put these on. Alright, I'm going to tap all the bowl holes in the back and then scrape this face. I got the flex plate Loctited and on there, and we're going to marry the transmission. Alright, we used the engine leveler and a jack under the transmission, and we got the dowel pins to drop and then put all the transmission bolts in. We don't have the torque converter bolts in yet, but they're bolted together now. Alright, got the car up here on jack stands. We're going to shove the motor in there. I'm going to have to make a transmission mount because somehow it got lost, but we're going to get it up in there and bolt it up here to these motor mount ears. And alright, we've got it up in here, and this header clears the steering, but we're going to have to pull it back out because the header on this side is up against that firewall, and we need this. We can't kick it forward because we need the oil filter for the adapter and everything, so we're going to pull it out, and we've marked it, and we're going to dent that firewall up. Alright, so we touched that firewall with a hammer a little bit, and we took a grinder and cut the edge of that flange off of the header so that we can get a little bit more clearance by the firewall. It's looking really good so far. We're going to shove it back in there and cross the fingers. Alright, so we got daylight through there. And we're not up against the steering linkage. There's daylight through there too. So them headers are working out really well. I just got to make a transmission mount. The front's mounted there. So we're getting closer. I'll make the transmission mount in the back and get it bolted. It'll be bolted. All right, I got this piece of steel angle ready to cut out, and then I'm gonna mill these slots out here in a second. I'm gonna cut it out here on the bandsaw. All right, so I've slotted 2 slots out here for the transmission. We're gonna go bolt it up to the transmission. Probably gonna make it, clean it up, make it a little, paint it black, but and then we'll drill for the 2 cross member bolts that go through, and the transmission mount will be done. All right, we got the hoist off of it, and I got clearance. I mean, them headers are just absolutely amazing. They're for a Dakota. They worked really well. And you can see daylight through there. So, I mean, yeah, they're going to work out really well. And I got the transmission mount done. So you can see that mount. Piece of angle there. I got it bolted. So the transmission's in, and we're ready to adjust the bands on the transmission and do the filter on it. Put a new filter, new fluid. Hopefully I get the carburetor next week. But we're going to go get spark plugs now, put new spark plugs in. We're ready to drop the distributor so we didn't hurt it or break it when we're putting it in there. And we're looking really good. Really good. I was hoping them headers were going to work. Alright, I've lined the spray paint up, and I put a torque converter bolt in and blew Loctite on it. And we're going to spin around, put all the torque converter bolts in. I had to buy torque converter bolts because they didn't come with the transmission, and so we're using a 3-speed 904 and the Magnum motor. So we're going to put all these torque converter bolts in. We're going to use the Magnum flex plate, and we're going to use the LA flex plate and the LA converter. 318 is internally balanced. All right, I got this brand new starter, and I'm going to put it in there. Now I got the flex plate bolts done, and we got a little mini starter, and we're going to put it in now. All right, I got the drive shaft in now, and they're real lucky that the car had a 904 in it before, so the drive shaft length doesn't need modified. So the 904 transmission, I got this aluminum drive shaft bolted in, and move on to the next thing. All right, I'm going to take this pan off, and we're going to put a new filter in it, and we're going to adjust the bands. One of the second gear bands you can get to here, but the first gear band we'll do it while we got the filter off. All right, we got the pan off, and I put a paint mark up there on that adjuster up there. See the yellow? So I ran it all the way down, and I backed the adjuster nut off, the jam nut. So we're going to back it off the 2 turns that the manual says for the second and third gear band adjustment, and we're going to tighten that jam nut back down so that we've taken all the slack out for second and third gear. And we're also going to change that filter, and then we're going to change the reverse first gear adjuster on the other side. You'll see here in a minute. Okay, so I got the rear adjusters for first and reverse done. You got an inch-pound torque wrench. You run both the adjusters, the rear band or the front band. You run it down to 72 inch-pounds, and this one gets backed off 4 turns on a 318, and the front one gets backed off 2.5 turns for the second and third gear band. Now we're going to put a new filter on. You got to take the filter off to do this. So some people do this with a 1/4 inch, like they make sure it'll move 1/4 inch. So there's a couple different ways to do this one here, but you want 1/4 inch of movement. So we're going to put the new filter on now. Alright, I got the new filter put on there. Alright, I got this kickdown cable kit, and I got this B&M, it's got a B&M shifter in the car, but I lost this bracket, so it cost me $50 to buy this kit. So I'm going to put the shift bracket on, and this is what's going to, this is actually the cable bracket for the shifter. And I'm going to fab, so I took the stock kickdown lever, and I bent it up. That'll give me enough room for my adjuster bracket to be in there, and clear that shifter cable and all that stuff for that. So I've modified it to be like this, and I'll show you the rest of it down there. Alright, so you can see the bracket. I put a M6 nut under there so that the jam nut comes straight, but this bracket here has been bent and then bolted to this tab on the 904 transmission. Now whenever the throttle comes back, it's going to pull that kickdown lever, and you pull it, so all the adjustment will be done on the top of it. There's a little set screw on the top to adjust it real easy at the carburetor, so you're just going to have enough slack that it's not going to pull until you know you're in the throttle. So if you don't hook that up without doing the valve body, it'll burn the transmission up. So we're going to have a kickdown cable on here now, and you can see how it mounts up there. So now I'm going to put the bracket on and hook the cable up for the shifter. Alright, I got the bracket on for the shifter cable, and it's way tucked around. All the stuff's going to need adjustment later when I get it actually running, but it's nowhere near the exhaust the way it's ran, so we're not going to burn it up, which is a big problem with these cable shifters, is that the cable burns up. So we're going to try it out and see how it goes. I got it in park right now, and we should be pretty good to go here with the transmission's been adjusted. New filter, new mount, kickdown cable, shifter cable. I gotta put the lines on it still, but you know, I'm gonna do that. I don't have any of that stuff here, so we got the starter on and the converter bolted up, so we're not going to use a cable. We're going to use GPS, so we're not going to worry about you know, hooking up a mile per hour gauge up there or anything. We'll just use the GPS with the radio. So this is all done right now. Alright, so this cable is going to come up, and I'll have to make a mount for it, but see, that adjuster is real easy. If you put this at the top, it's real easy to just keep messing with this until so it's going to pull, right, to pull that lever down there. So it's got to go up here on the front, and we'll put it on this bracket like this, so when the butterfly pulls it back, that bolt will bolt into the butterfly. So we'll keep messing with this until it shifts right. You want to be able to, when you're going 35 mile an hour and you gun it, that it drops down in a second. So if it doesn't do it, you make it tighter, and if it does it too early, then you make it looser. You just adjust it, you know, that little set screw along that cable until you get it to kick down when you want it to kick down, and that's pretty much it. And then, you know, the throttle cable will hook up, you know, the same way it always has. I got a new plate I'm gonna put on here. It's coming. I haven't got it yet. I was a little late ordering it, and the carburetor guy is supposed to give me a carburetor here soon. So yeah, but we got her in here, and the greatest part is these headers. These little shorty headers for a Dakota. I mean, I got clearance through there, and they don't really give me any horsepower, but, and then I got, you know, clearance. This is just amazing to me that it actually worked. you know, that well for me. We had to modify the other side a little bit, but I mean, this thing's in here, and the best part is, as low as this car is, it's not going to scrape the ground. I'll be able to make exhaust, which will be probably what I do tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to probably get the exhaust done on it. So if you like this kind of stuff, check back in. Have a nice day.